Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett, and in today's video, we are talking all about how to decorate small bedrooms. Now, whenever I make a video about small spaces, I always invite you to remember that small is a relative term. What is small for you may be large for others, and what's small for me may be micro for you. Just bear that in mind that you can take these design tips and apply them to any space, no matter the size. Now, the first thing you can do in a small bedroom that's going to enhance it and make it more usable and make it look a little larger, because we could all use that, is actually all about what you're doing with the color and your color schemes. When you are decorating a space, having a very cohesive color scheme allows us to see the space, to visually digest it more easily. So when you have a small space that has a lot of different colors and details happening, it's all compact, it's all condensed, it's a lot closer, which makes it feel much busier, and that isn't benefiting the space. So using a more cohesive color scheme actually simplifies the space, even though you may have all of the same things in it, and we absolutely love that for you. Now, what does all of that mean? Use cohesive colors and be intentional with the colors you're choosing. If you decide you want to paint it a dark color, great, use all saturated dark colors and use them that are similar. So take the wall color, apply it to some of the bedding, some of the accessories or artwork pieces in the space. If you decide to do the opposite and something that is light and bright, that's wonderful. Once again, take the wall color and apply it to some of the bedding. Even if it's a white, okay, painting the walls white, use white bedding in that space to really create cohesivity and consistency. And then when it comes to the other materials like your headboard or wood tones, make sure they're matching something else within the space. That way they feel intentional and like they were chosen to be cohesive, because that once again simplifies the visual clutter in the space. Now, I know sometimes it can be difficult to come up with these design decisions on your own, whether that is creating a cohesive color scheme or coming up with creative ideas to take advantage of a small space. Regardless of the project you're working on, I have got those answers for you. You can always book a one-on-one virtual consultation with me using the link in the description box down below or going to intro.co/GarrettLeChic. When it comes to decorating a small space, regardless of the style of that space or what the use of it is, something we always look to bring into that space is verticality or a vertical element or feeling. When you have a horizontal space, a space that is longer than it is tall, your eye is expecting to move through it more seamlessly in a more horizontal way. However, a vertical space, a space that is taller than it is wide, we're expecting to look upwards. So basically what I'm getting at here is that a horizontal space, we're expecting it to be bigger. We're expecting our eye to move across it this way. And when it's small, it doesn't move very far and it feels very small. But a vertical space, we're not panning our eyes from left to right, we're panning them up and down. The space feels larger regardless of its actual size or dimension. So playing with the proportions of that space can make it look and feel more open and brighter and larger. And how we do that is adding in more vertical elements or vertically oriented elements. What does all of that mean? You need to focus in on bringing that eye up to the ceiling. And you can do a lot of different things to create that illusion in this space. It can be drapery. One of my favorite things to do, you hang your drapery extra high to the ceiling, and then you focus in on doing something like pinch pleats that has a lot of folds and layers to it, because we get a lot of those vertical lines. Artwork that is more vertically oriented is great to bring into a smaller space because it once again has that vertical element. So something that is taller than it is wide. There are other things you can look for, light fixtures, lamps, even nightstands in a small bedroom that are more vertical than they are wide will immediately make the space feel taller and elongated. That's what we want to do and create in the space to make it feel a little bit bigger, to make it feel more open. Anything we can do to bring the eye up is great, including light fixtures that maybe dangle a little bit further than we would think is ideal, but they're above a bed, nobody's walking under them. And something like a ceiling detail can also do that for you. Crown molding, a ceiling medallion can be great, or painting your ceiling in an interesting, unique color that works cohesively, once again with your color scheme, is something wonderful to consider for a small bedroom or any sort of small room. When it comes to a small space, one of the most important things we can do is take advantage of every inch of space we have within that small space. And one of the best ways you can do that is with built-in elements. This is something we use when it comes to designing a small kitchen. Instead of going with standard cabinets that need big fillers, we may look for something custom. And that's something to think about in a small bedroom as well. Something I absolutely love to recommend to my clients who I actually work with and design spaces for is to do a built-in headboard, something that extends from wall to wall and really encompasses the space. Integrated headboards are great for a couple of reasons. One, they add a great luxury feeling and a touch to a space that you're maybe not expecting and you're like, oh, this is wonderful. Even if you get an oversized headboard that extends beyond your nightstands or into your nightstands, it has a very layered and detailed feeling and feels very integrated. It feels like the nightstands are a part of it, and that's wonderful to do in a small space. However, there are certain things to consider, and one of those is that this is a very horizontal element. It is a very, very horizontal element. So think about what we're doing above it to counterbalance that horizontal with vertical in order to make the ceilings look taller. But a fully built-in integrated headboard is something great to think about because, once again, we don't have the busyness where it stops and it starts and where does it end and how is it layering and adapting, because it goes wall to wall. It spans that whole wall. So we get a reduction in the clutter, in the visual busyness in the space, even though that's not physical clutter. It's not stuff that you can just throw out or get rid of or move or pack away in a box. It's a headboard, and integrating a headboard completely is great. Now, if you've been here for a while, you know I'm not the biggest fan of floating pieces of furniture or elements in a house. I would much rather have furniture with legs, but in a small bedroom, that may not be the right thing for you. It might not be the answer. And mounting your nightstands on a wall can actually really free up a lot of space underneath it, reduce a lot of visual clutter, and sometimes you can overlap them with the bed slightly depending on how big that room is. If you have a micro bedroom, that's something really worth thinking about because you can get a little more of that nightstand space by overlapping it a bit or having it be very close to the edge of the mattress, as where you couldn't do that with a freestanding furniture piece nightstand because it's limited in terms of how close you can get it. Wall-mounted nightstands are wonderful, and there's something worth thinking about. But I personally like, one of my favorite things to do in a small bedroom to really build in an element and free up some space is all about lighting. As an interior designer, I love lighting, and the more of it you bring into the space, the better. But getting that off of a surface frees up a lot of space for you to add things in. You can now have a valet for your cell phone and your charger and all of the things, and where you set your glasses down at night. I know I'm the one, like, I will lose my glasses in the middle of the night. I need the glasses. I can't see them while they're on the nightstand because I'm not wearing them. So I have to dig around and search for them. Having that nightstand cleared up and not having clutter on it is a great way to make your life more convenient. But removing your light fixtures from that nightstand really frees up a lot of space. So you have a couple of options you can choose to do when it comes to light fixtures in your bedroom. One is a ceiling mounted pendant fixture. This is great for adding a large vertical element into your space, and hang them nice and low so they're at the same place a lampshade would be. That way you get a really extended line, a beautiful vertical element, and that's something we're thinking about. You can also do sconces or wall-mounted fixtures above your nightstands. That really frees up a lot of space, but it's not a groundbreaking thing to do. It doesn't have a very different feeling than a traditional lamp would, and that's just what some people want, and that's okay. You can also do wall-mounted fixtures that plug in, and so you get that convenience factor. There are also battery-operated wall-mounted fixtures you can choose, or there's some hacks where you get like a battery-operated puck light you can put into them. Those are available in my Amazon storefront, linked in the description box down below. But you can also add reading lights. Like I said, there are so many things you can do. If you do a built-in headboard, you can actually have fixtures mounted to that headboard so you get a really clean look without having to have anything permanently wired in, and that's wonderful as well. You can add LED strip lighting under your bed, behind your headboard. As long as we're not looking at the light strip itself, it'll actually have a very soft and beautiful glow and a little bit of chromotherapy if you're into that as well. There are lots and lots and lots of things you can do when it comes to built-in elements in a bedroom. Those are just some of them, and some of the easiest and my favorite things to consider. Hanging a headboard in a wall is a commitment, but you can then have your nightstands mounted to the headboard. You can then have your light fixtures mounted to the headboard, and all of a sudden we only have a couple of screws that we have to put in place to secure all of that in, and there you go. You have something really efficient, really effective, and really beautiful and highly designed in a space where you don't have to make a lot of commitments. Speaking of making commitments, I am looking to make a commitment to all of you, and I'm looking for you to match that back to me by hitting the subscribe button and joining us. I promise you that I will always put out amazing, incredible, wonderful, beautiful interior design content like I have been doing consistently, twice a week actually, and I would love to have you as a part of our LeChic family. So please join us by hitting that subscribe button, becoming a part of said LeChic family, and I would greatly appreciate if everyone watching could help me defeat YouTube's algorithm by giving this video a like. And it would also help me out greatly if you all left me a comment featuring one of your favorite small space hacks. What do you think is something every small space needs to have, including a small little puppy who wants to come and say hello? Hi there, Arden. Yes, every small space should have a small puppy, so comment down below what's one of your favorite small space hacks, and be sure you're engaging with other people's comments and letting them know what you think of their opinions too. Some drama in the comments, Arden. That sounds like fun, doesn't it? It's fun for me. Oh yeah, okay. All right, are you gonna sit here? You wanna sit with us for the video? Okay, well, one of my favorite things to add to a small bedroom, and as any small space, any small home, you don't have enough storage. I don't care how much you have, you need more. So when you are decorating a small bedroom, look to add furniture pieces that have storage. Every single piece should have some sort of storage, if possible. Maybe a headboard doesn't need to have storage, but you can find beds where the mattress actually lifts up and there's storage underneath where you can put off-season clothing or things you don't need to access regularly. That's wonderful. If you're gonna do those wall-mounted nightstands, be sure you're finding some with drawers. That way we get a little bit of extra storage. Even if you're not going for built-in elements, there are so many storage options out there that you can choose from when it comes to furniture pieces. All it takes is diving in, looking for them, and really being thoughtful with your decisions. Once again, the beds with storage underneath are great. You can find a nightstand that has a little bit more of a closed body to it and taller legs even, that has maybe a shelf underneath it or some closed storage where you can put some of those things we don't want to see. All of that makes a huge, huge difference in a small bedroom. And adding in additional storage removes some of the physical, the actual clutter in the space. When we have a place to put it and it's intentional, closed storage pieces are my favorite. And in some small bedrooms, you may not have the room for a dresser. Okay, and so maybe you only have the room for one piece of furniture. It's like, I have a room for a desk but not a dresser and I need a vanity. Well, that desk should have storage. It can serve as a dresser. It can serve as a vanity. It can have multiple functions, and that's something we're thinking about in a small space as well. And it's okay if you have to put a dresser into the closet, or you want to go for an IKEA piece that's assembly because there's only so much space. That's all perfect and wonderful. If you can do that, I absolutely say go about it. Make those decisions. Once again, it's hard for me to come up with the creative ideas for your specific space because I'm not looking at it. And I can do that if we do a consultation together and I can get you some of those more thorough answers. But there are lots of creative solutions out there. All it takes is looking, asking around, getting some opinions from people, whether that's people in the comment section down below or your friends and family or me. One of my favorite things to do in any space in my home is to declutter. I love going through the drawers. I love tucking things away and making sure that everything is serving me some sort of purpose. And in a small space, that's especially important. So decluttering and minimizing your decor is one of the biggest takeaways you can have from this video about what to do in a small bedroom. And as we already said, there are different types of clutter in your space and different types of minimizing. So minimizing visually is all about the color schemes and the size of pieces of furniture and reducing the busyness that we've already talked about. But reducing some of the things you have in the space can also really benefit you. So, you know, you don't need to have 10 pillows on your bed. Okay, like what are you doing with them when you're not in bed? When you're in bed, what are you doing with all of the pillows? They're probably just getting thrown on the floor. Do we really need to have that many? I don't think so. I think that we can find some nice pillows, some beautiful bedding, and maybe one accent pillow, and that's enough for us. But there are other things you can minimize as well. Try to reduce what's on your nightstand. We don't need to have a ton of clutter and a bunch of things. Look for a valet tray so we can corral some of our necessary items, you know, like the cell phone, like my glasses at night. I always keep lip balm by the bed. Those are good things to put there. They're easy to find, but it also takes all of these multiple smaller items and turns them into one larger item. You know, have one glass behind your bed where you can, you know, have that glass of water, you know, for when you wake up in the middle of the night, you get a little sippy, that's fine. But there are things we can do to minimize what's happening all over the place. So reducing the amount of clutter does a lot of things. One, it makes it so much easier to clean everything. When you don't have to wipe stuff down, when you don't have to dust all sorts of things, it makes it easier to live in and enjoy that space. Plus, you spend a lot of time in bed. So that's a room, that's an area that really has to be clean and dust free, and it has to be a comfortable environment for you to be in because it actually really benefits your health when it is. Also things like, you know, being able to block out the lights, that's a big deal. That's not maybe a decluttering thing, but that does make a big impact on your sleep quality. And that's maybe just a little extra tip I'm throwing in there. Decluttering the surfaces and decluttering visual clutter as well really benefits your space. So minimizing the accessories and decor has a big impact in the overall design and feeling of the space. And if you're going to have maybe more decor than is absolutely necessary, that's fine. Let's make sure it fits into that cohesive color scheme and works within the space and is actually adding something in there that we need or we're missing so we get a little bit of benefit from it. I also personally like decor that either has sentimental value and meaning to me or serves some sort of function and utility as opposed to things that are just pretty for the sake of it. Yes, I might have a vase, but that vase can be used for multiple different things. I might have a crystal bowl sitting here, but the crystal bowl is pretty, it's cut glass, you know, the light sparkles off of it, great. But, you know, if I'm having a big party, maybe I'll take it and serve out of it and, you know, put some chips in it or something. Like, hey, that's great too. Something that is versatile is great. Whether it's a jar and a vase you can turn into a floral arrangement, wonderful. I also really love boxes, these small kind of organizational boxes. They add a little bit of interest. They're a great element to use to mix different wood tones together or pull in some different colors. But once again, they're adding some storage. They have an actual function. I can use them for whatever I need. So focus in on bringing things that are beautiful into the space, but decluttering, because when we have a lot of little things, we have to dust and clean them. It takes a long time. It's very busy. It creates a sense of overwhelmingness in a space, and we don't want that in your bedroom. Now, if you have got a beautiful but teeny tiny little bedroom, you may also need some help around the house. Be sure you check out this video right here all about fixing awkward living room layouts. To get all of your living room layout questions answered, be sure you check it out and I will see you over there. Oh, and by the way, thanks for watching.